Raider Nation. Thank you for joining us on the Only Nation podcast, brought to you by the Raider Ramble. My name is Heidi, but you may know me as Kevlar Prom Dress or even Raider Ladybug. I'm here with Raider Homer and T3 Raider Facts, and we're ready to talk some Raiders football together.
Win, lose, or tie, always ready to talk Raider football until I die.
Let's end the season on a good note with a big win over those horse teeth donkeys.
Yeehaw!
Let's leave John Elway out of this. Today on the show, we need to get the bad taste out of our mouths after a depressing 26-25 loss to the Dolphins, which means the Raiders can finish no better than 8-8 this season. Oh, speaking of that, we will turn our attentions to the last game of the season, a cold weather game in Denver against the division rival Broncos.
All right, Raider Nation, we would love to hear from you. So here's how you can get in touch with us. Just give us a call on the Only Nation podcast voicemail line at 904-701-8667. That's 904-701-8667. Or our email address is onlynationpod@gmail.com. And we can also be found on Twitter and Instagram at onlynationpod. You can also check us out on Facebook and YouTube at The Only Nation Podcast. Be sure to like, follow, and subscribe to us on all your favorite social media accounts and podcasting apps. Also, don't forget to check out our website at onlynationpod.com. Don't forget to send us a message with your name and address, and we'll get some free Raider merch sent out to you.
On to our first segment.
Here's the latest Raider news.
On the day after Christmas, Derek Carr was back in action from a pretty nasty-looking groin injury for the Raiders, and the defense played better as well. That's subjective. Even so, after kicking a field goal with only 19 seconds left, Miami, on a long pass play and aided by a penalty by Arden Key, who probably won't be here next year, kicked a 44-yard field goal to win the game at the end. Raiders now fall to 7-8 on the year with one game left to play.
Oh, man. One day after Christmas, like Merry Christmas, Raider Nation, the defense collapsed again. I mean, I know there's a lot of people asking for Gruden to do better as far as play calling, but look, sometimes your defense just needs to be able to step up. All right? We talked about, Mariota last week, right? So now we know that Mariota can lead us in a game and get us into position to win the game, but our defense can't make a stop in overtime, right? We know that Derek Carr can bring us back twice in the fourth quarter, and the defense can't make a stop, not even with 19 seconds left to go. Like, that is mind-blowing, and it points the finger at the defense, right? Carr's always the gentleman or the politically correct guy, never wants to point the finger at the defense. But let's just face it. The defense is not where it needs to be. And you know what? I'm going to chalk it up to a young secondary, right? Mullen, only in his second year. Abram in his second year, but technically his first year, full year playing. Arnett, his first year, been beat up, right? And Eric Harris, right? He's really only, I bet he was like bagging groceries or something like that, 3 years ago? So he's still young too. Maybe we put it to that, but at the same time, just fucking wake up and get a stop. Okay, guys? And we could win this. We could win games like these.
I'm not even going to fault the offensive play calling there at the end because the percentages talk for you, run the clock down. Gruden did exactly like you should have and kicked the field goal. Had no problem at all with that. In fact, I thought that was the smart play. And when they looked at the percentages of the Raiders winning with 19 seconds left was like 99.2%. Well, that 0.8% somehow found its way in, didn't it?
The analytics were in our favor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unbelievable. Like, that is a classic Raider loss. Right? It's not about John Gruden. It's not about Derek Carr. It's not about Marcus Mariota. All right? We've all seen those guys in action, and we've been right there in position to win the game, and our defense cannot get a stop.
Hey, listen, the Chargers should be mad at us because we've taken over their game plan.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I didn't have that big of a problem with the final sequence of the offense. the numbers were 99.9%, according to PFF, in our favor with 19 seconds left. So Gruden played the percentages. And in my opinion, if your defense can't hold a team for 19 seconds, you don't deserve to win.
Agreed.
And we didn't deserve to win.
At all. At all. And you can point the finger at maybe Mayock, right? But I don't know. Look, Gunther, maybe you could say Gruden he waited too long. But, are the players playing that much better under Marinelli? Yes, kind of, sort of. But the eye test, they're still not passing the eye test. Like Arnett, right? How do you let the guy run right past you? Like, there's nobody in front of you in the flat. Like, you have to make a decision right then and there to say, I'm not letting this guy run past me and trying to pass it off to Isaiah Johnson.
Well, and Abram was caught napping too, because when you see that, you have to provide coverage over the top real quick. So he was slow to react as well.
But that ball hang up in the air for so long, dude. Like, if Arnett would have just trailed, not even just trailed, but like just stayed in his hip pocket, then that would have been an incomplete pass.
I did hear one rumor. So we know the secondary coaches were ineligible to coach because of COVID restrictions. Mayock and Jeff Heath were coaching the defensive backfield. And I don't know for certain, but I was told that Mayock told Arnett to stay in the flat and don't leave. So it didn't help that we didn't have any coaches.
I just look, I get that. All right. But I'm just saying, as a player, like, find it in your heart to say, I am not going to get beat. Fuck this game plan. I'm going to go down the field and make a play. Like, I get it. We've been getting eat up in the flat, right? It's terrible. But in the flat, right? In that situation, keep everything in front of you, right? Nobody gets behind you.
And turn it to the inside.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
All what they had to do was catch one pass in the middle of the field.
Right.
And that would have been it.
Anything that they had done in the middle of the field, they were out of timeouts. They had no time to line up. It would have ended right there.
Raider Nation, right? Let's find a way to be positive. Let's not sit there and be like, fire John Gruden. They should have put Mariota in. We know that we have one hell of a good starting quarterback. We know that we have one hell of a good backup quarterback that can be a starting quarterback. And they both can be utilized by John Gruden, but it's the defense. Just focus on that. Make sure that we understand that. Let's understand our team.
Gruden is not going anywhere. We just need to do an intervention.
Works for me. All right. Nelson Aguilar and Darren Waller combined for 10 catches for 267 yards and a touchdown. So there was plenty of offensive production there, but the numbers just weren't enough to overcome the defense.
Too many field goals and not enough converted touchdowns in the red zone.
Yeah. But the Dolphins were kicking field goals too. Sometimes this game comes down to kicking field goals. Now, it's not like we're playing the Chiefs, right? Like, the Chiefs is a game where you cannot score field goals. The Dolphins is a game where you can score field goals and win. That's half true, I think. But Aguilar, probably the best signing that we've had. Way better than Tyrell Williams, right? Available, productive. So, man, let's get that guy re-signed in the offseason.
Let's just hope he doesn't ask for too much.
Well, I thought we were talking about Williams. He has a team-friendly contract coming up right here, right? So this year coming, I think, right? So we should be able to, maybe just divert that money to Aguilar.
Yeah, that would give us 11. That'd give us 11 million.
Yeah. So, and then see if, Tyrell Williams is serious about wanting to come back and be a Raider, and then maybe get him at a discount because, he's getting injured all the time.
Hunter Renfrow came back from last week's injury and caught 5 passes. Jason Witten caught 2, and Brian Edwards even caught 1. Henry Ruggs, no receptions on 2 targets.
Not surprising, right? Going back to the Jets game, whatever led to the Jets blitzing, like, Henry Ruggs was wide open, and that's why they're not leaving him open, right? They're double teaming him because they know that he can catch that bomb and hurt them at the end of the game, right? So he's not going to be wide open. He did it in Carolina too. You know that the guy is a deep threat. He's done it a couple of times. Not very much, but he's a deep threat, and that he's not doing it a whole lot, I think, because he's a rookie, can't get off the press. and they're double teaming him.
Now, I'm not alone in my thinking on this, but I really believe that when Ruggs caught that touchdown pass against the Jets, that would really start to open things up and that he would really start to get more targets and start to really find his way and his place in this receiving core. But then it just didn't happen.
Look, the other thing to remember when it comes to Ruggs, right, is Derek Carr distributes the ball evenly. He's not looking for Ruggs all the time. He's not looking for Waller all the time. He is surveying the defense, Heidi, and he is looking for the open wide receiver. You know what I mean? So that's another thing to keep in mind, but I'd like to see John Gruden get back to that game planning for Ruggs, but maybe Ruggs isn't quite back from that injury mentally, right? We've seen that happen with Derek Carr, right? It takes a little bit of time sometimes to come back mentally from injuries, especially when you're in, a rookie and you're in your first year. It's like you're used to being at home or done with your, getting ready for a bowl game and that's it, right? But I don't know. I don't want to make excuses. I'd love to see John Gruden do more with them, but I kind of see why he isn't so dominant right now.
Well, that was one of the knocks on Ruggs coming out of college, was that he might not be able to get off the press as easily as Judy and some of the other wide receivers, Jefferson for sure.
One of the attacks on him has been that he's not a good route runner like Jerry Jeudy or even CeeDee Lamb, which is why I really was hoping earlier in the draft that they would go the route of Jerry Jeudy because he is a more established and polished route runner. So I put this on the receiving coach because in Alabama, he was getting his touches. He was getting bubble screens. He was getting reverses. They were getting the ball in his hands. So it's not a matter of him not being able to run good routes. It's the coaching. And I think that's where that came into play. They never really figured out how to get him into the game. They tried a couple of times, but they weren't consistent. So this is where I really see the needle moving from year one to year two. It's how they figure out how to utilize this weapon. Tyreek Hill wasn't an instant slam dunk right off the bat with Kansas City. They had to figure out the right way to use him and get him into the game. So I'm hoping that between year 1 and 2 that the Raiders figure it out.
Yeah, I mean, but he did come out of college with like a 2.4, 2.7% drop rate. Like, so the guy can catch, right? That they don't need, and John Gruden doesn't really run a bubble offense, right? That's Bill Musgrave, right? Remember, we used to complain about that though, too. So let's just be careful with that part. But at the same time, it's like, utilize him more, but at the same, he's got that speed. Judy, you cannot teach Judy that speed. You can teach Ruggs how to run routes. So I think year 2, maybe he hits a little bit of a sophomore thing, because I think overall that's what we do as a team. We go for players that have high football IQs. Well, that kind of contradicts what I'm saying on the defense, but we go for these players that, are football intelligent and are football first players, and sometimes it takes a little bit of time to develop them. So as a fan base that's been watching this team lose, we watch John Gruden run down the sideline on the Buccaneers side, cheering for that Super Bowl. So we want this instant success, but it's not quite there. But look, we are 7-8 right now, right? So think about it. Like last year, we were 7-9. Is that a good thing? No, but you know what? We're right there, right there. Some of these games with our defense being able to get some stops, maybe our offense being able to make an extra play to keep the first down the ball out of the other team's hands for here and there, whatever, or not turn over the ball. Derek Carr fumbling. I mean, we're right there. I really feel still though at the end of this season, or really towards the end of this, season for the Raiders, that we're still a good team. We just don't have the wherewithal, I guess, to control a game from the first quarter to the fourth quarter. We have these mental collapses, which is a sign of a young team.
So you mentioned Derek Carr a minute ago, Homer. Tell us a little bit more about his performance.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah, okay. Derek Carr came back from his injury against the Chargers and led the Raiders offense for the whole game against the Dolphins. He was 21 of 34 for 336 yards and 1 touchdown, with a rating of 104.5. He led the offense down the field, and they kicked a field goal to go on top by 2 with just 19 seconds left in the game, so he did his part. Yeah, okay, yeah, he did do his part. I get that. I mean, I like that. But just defense, do your goddamn part. Defense, do your part.
But the amazing thing is, despite the fact that it was all on the defense, the Carr haters, they came out of the woodwork As soon as the game was over, they should have gone for a touchdown, or they left too many points out on the field. Well, they did what they had to do. Derek Carr did his job, and he put them in a position to win.
Yeah, and the points that they left out on the field, I don't think were on Derek Carr. They were on really poor play calling inside the 5 and the 10. I mean, there just was no aggression at all. Just run it down the middle twice and then try to throw it to Witten. I mean, that was the game plan.
I think, though, the thing is that the Dolphins are a good defense. Like, we have an offense that can move the ball on good defenses, but sometimes these games aren't going to be, us dominating this defense. We're going to have to strategically position ourselves and score points when the time is right. You know what I mean? And take the points when we want, or the field goal when we want a touchdown sometimes, dude. I don't know.
If they had come out against Atlanta the way they came out against Miami, then that whole outcome would have been completely different, I think.
Yeah. But that's a sign of a young team. This is what we're suffering through right now, Raider Nation. Good talent, young talent that is learning what it takes to win. They're right there. They have us in position, right? Like, it's a fourth quarter collapse or an overtime collapse. They have us there. We're almost there, but it's just boom. They have to learn, I guess, kind of how to lose, right? I mean, because if you are not 100% focused the entire game, then that can cost you a victory. So sometimes now they know, like, shit, you remember that one time and that one game and we were right there, but I didn't make that play. So now they're really going to be focusing on that kind of shit too, right? Because they're going to be able to do the fundamentals and be in position. We'll see what goes on as far as a coaching change on the defense or if Marinelli stays, but like, they know a little bit more now about what it takes to win as far as a defense, and it's like sometimes you got to get humiliated. And what we really want, right, is for this team to come back next year and be so pissed off that they're just going to be mashing you in the mouth. Screw your offense. You know what I mean? We want to run. We're going to run with your wide receivers. We're going to smash a tight end. Your running back, yeah, he might hit hard coming in that hole, but we're going to hit hard too, and he's going to be just as tired as us, in the fourth quarter. You got to wear down that offense. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm rambling now.
That's okay.
You're still up.
Now, with Darren Waller's performance last Saturday, he became only the second tight end in Raiders history, Todd Christensen being the other, to finish multiple seasons with over 1,000 receiving yards. But also, if he gets 8 more catches against Denver, Waller will then tie Tim Brown for the record for the number of catches in a single season. Right now, the record stands at 104.
Yeah, and he does now hold the record for receptions for tight ends in the season for the club.
Right.
Yeah.
He holds that record, and he's zeroing in on the record for all receivers. And I'll tell you, even though he's gotten all those things, we have pointed out numerous times where he could have had a lot more. And some of that's play calling. There are a couple of strategic or unfortunate drops here or there. But he could have been utilized more. But they've gotten a lot of use out of that old number 83 this year, I'll tell you.
Yeah, I mean, but don't forget, same thing with what I said earlier about Ruggs, or even Aguilar. They don't always get a lot of targets because Derek Carr distributing the ball evenly. You know what I mean? So that's a good thing, right? If you got guys that can touch the ball and get a catch and make something happen with limited opportunities, that's exactly what you want.
Yeah, but Ruggs only had 2 targets.
I mean, sometimes that's what you got to. You got to make something happen with those 2 targets, and I think that's what he's going to have to learn. You're only going to get so many targets because we do got Darren Waller. We do got Josh Jacobs coming out of the backfield. We got Ingold coming out of the backfield. We got Aguilar come over the top. We got Renfro that's just working the middle like shit. Any other Hall of Famer you've ever seen. You know what I mean? There's a lot of talent there for Derek Carr to throw the ball to,
It seems to me, though, too many times when they target Ruggs, he's either being double covered or he's having to make a really tough catch. They're not putting him open in space. They could do some crossing routes or some things, a delayed screen. There's lots of ways they could get the ball in his hands in open space. But I think a lot of times when they try to target him, he's being really contested, either double teamed or trying to work something in a really tight window.
They might be trying to force it to him because they might be calling a play specifically for him and they want to get the ball to him and they're trying to force it, All right. After being highly criticized for last week's performance against the Chargers, Trayvon Mullen returned to form and provided solid coverage against Dolphin receivers. It was good to see him shake off a bad game and continue to build his confidence for the future. This guy, I told y'all this shit at the beginning of the year. This guy is the best cornerback we've had since 90 and or Charles Woodson. All right, like that's how it is. This kid is good, man. Yeah, he got the flags against the Chargers, but that's what it took for him to have a little mental collapse. Like it took the referees calling these little sketchy plays, you know. Trayvon Mullen is definitely something that we can, a bright spot that we can look to in this defense. You know what I mean? And Arnett, just please learn how not to get hit in the head, because I think he's pretty good too. I think getting toasted on that 35-yard reception from Fitzmagic, I think that's something that he will always remember, because that if he would have just ran with them, then that game was over. You know what I mean? They'd have got the 15-yarder, but then they would have, I don't know about the time or whatever, but, it wouldn't have been so bad because they only were able to run one more play, then kick the field goal, and then we had 1 second left. So Arnett can be a similar player to Trayvon Mullen, I think, if he can just learn how not to get knocked out.
See, and this is a similar case, and I've heard so many people talk about how training camp is so vital. This is one of those instances where if Damon Arnett had been through an entire training camp, like Trayvon Mullen had the opportunity to be in before his rookie season, I think some of these mental mistakes that you're seeing and some of these blown coverages are probably not going to happen with as much frequency. And also injuries as well. You have to know where to place yourself and how to play certain things, where to turn up the gas and when to let off. And these are things you can only learn during training camps and playing head up against the competition. Damon didn't have that benefit. He didn't have that opportunity. So he and a lot of other defensive backs in the leagues have really suffered as a result. And I think that's another thing going from year one to year two, where I hope the needle pushes in his favor to really be able to get that experience under his belt and get those reps in. Just need those reps.
I think that Trayvon Mullen did have an improvement over the Chargers game, but he still showed a lot of room for growth. It's definitely good to see him, come back and shake it off. But it wasn't his strongest game either. So I'm looking forward to see him build on that performance and really start to shine, hopefully within the next year or two.
Now, T3, you just brought up, right, the fact that they, Arnett, this rookie class, didn't have their rookie mini camps and things like that. So, we graded the team back a few episodes back, and I gave him a B. I'm still going to stick with that B, right? Because that is something to consider. Like, these young guys have not had the opportunity to really get coached up well, considering that they had to deal with all the COVID offseason shit. And then, they had to deal with Gunther, who had a complicated scheme, and then a coaching change. So I really do believe that if we can get a Wade Wilson, I know we're not trying to go down here, but a coach that can coach up the defense, these young players like John Gruden coaches up the offensive players, man, we're going to be dominant.
All right. Now, for the second straight week, the Raiders were missing Cleve Earl on the defensive front with a shoulder injury. Now, at the time that we're putting the show together, still uncertain as to whether he'll be available for the last game of the season against the Broncos, although now it's not looking like he's going to be on the field.
Yeah, not having him has really hurt the defense. He's not what most people would consider performing as a number 4 overall pick, but his absence on the field speaks volumes. I know they've been playing him on the inside a lot. I still would like to see him as a defensive end more, but when they lose him, they just lose so much. He might not get the stats, but the difference he provides is remarkable.
Yeah, many coaches and players have commented that he eats up blockers, and so that's something that stats won't often show. But he's really loaned a lot of leadership to that front as well, despite the fact that he's only in his second year.
I mean, he provides a presence on the field. All right. And look, back to the Wade Phillips hiring and the 3-4 defense change. Clelin Ferrell can be the key to that. All right. Because he can play that 3 technique. I think right between the guard and the outside tackle. Right. That's what he can provide. Right. And then you have a Tanner Muse on the outside of him. You know what I mean? I believe that Cleveland Farrell is actually a pretty good player. Is he that Khalil Mack? That's the thing, though, is he had to come right after Khalil Mack. Like, he was never going to be as good as we wanted him to be as a fan base. But he can still be utilized in this team's quest to be successful and to start winning again. He is still a valuable piece, I think. And it's unfortunate that he may not play in this game because we do need him, in this inclement weather, game that, possibility that it could be inclement weather game, whatnot. But we'll see. Come on.
Well, now, speaking of the Raider defense, they were able to record 3 sacks. They had 6 quarterback hits and 7.5 tackles for loss. So there is a shred of light there on the defensive side of the ball. There are just too many lapses, particularly critical times, and they just haven't been able to generate very many turnovers this season. And that's been a big difference in the performance of this team, I believe.
I mean, this 3 sacks, right? That was against a rookie quarterback. Like, that's what I'm saying. This is a young defense. This defense, needs a coach. That's all it really is, man. We just need that coach. That's where I'm at right now because they are making mental mistakes. They're not feeling like they can make, like I said, with Arnett, just saying, you know what? I'm going with this guy. I'm not going to let him get past me and score, get his team in position to kick a field goal. Just a coach that will say, hey, you know what, dude? If you're in a situation where, everything's on the line and we need you to make a stop and the only thing for you to make a stop is to trail this guy streaking down the field, you go ahead and do that. And we need a coach that will let a player know that they can do that if they need to. And Wade Phillips, again, here we go. You obviously know what I want to happen in the offseason. That's the guy that can provide that kind of coaching. We've seen what he could do everywhere he goes. He did it with the Cowboys. He did it with the Rams. He's got 2 key pieces still signed from the Rams. So let's do it.
Now, the one thing that I found disappointing, though, was even though the defense and the line was able to get pressure on the quarterback, 3 sacks, 6 quarterback hits, 7.5 tackles for loss. Normally, when you get that kind of pressure on the quarterback, it helps the secondary be able to mask any shortfalls. And that just didn't seem to happen. That was kind of disappointing for me. Of course, I'm thinking of Arden Key in that last play. So that's not helping. Oftentimes we say, get the pressure and that helps the secondary. It just seemed like in this game, it wasn't quite enough.
I don't know if I should even go here, but like the fact that they changed it up, right? They changed it up. The Dolphins did, right? And they put in Fitzpatrick. Now, this is dangerous because you can say, well, put in Mariota and change it up, right? And I've said that earlier in the season, but only in certain situations. And that's what they did with Fitzpatrick. They changed up the whole scheme. And so we proved that we could play against a young quarterback that was trying to move around a little bit more. But when it came to a true pocket passer, we were fucked. We couldn't stop them. They went all the way down the field, right? 2 times. And then 3 times. 3 times. We couldn't stop them. That's why we went and kneeled at the 1 instead of taking the touchdown. It's like, we cannot trust our defense. And they tried to, but it didn't happen. It just didn't happen.
But now, not to heap too much praise on Fitzpatrick, but that last pass, he just threw it straight up in the air. He didn't even know where he was throwing it to. If the guy hadn't been so wide open, it wouldn't have been an issue. That was a pick just waiting to happen.
Exactly. It was a prayer. The dude threw up a prayer. And you know what really bothers me is that motherfucker was on the sideline telling his teammates, just watch. The Raiders are going to fuck it up. Because that was a classic Raider fuck up. Threw up a prayer, and we came in and hit him in the face. Oh, my God.
Moving on.
Yeah. Right.
Now, in this week's Raider Review, which can be found on Raiders.com, Raiders host Aaron Coscarelli, along with analysts Marcel Reese and Lincoln Kennedy, broke down wide receiver Nelson Aguilar's career day against the Dolphins and discussed the versatility that he's brought this year to the Raider offense. And Homer, you mentioned it before. I think he's probably one of the best offseason acquisitions we've made.
Oh, yeah.
# sign Nelson Aguilar.
I'm down. This guy wanted to perform. He came and did what we wanted Malik Collins to do. You know what I mean? He came and he did what we wanted. We needed all of our free agent players to do. This guy came in and did it. And none of us really saw it coming. You know what I mean? And
No.
now we want it.
Yeah, no, he was the one that I would have said, nah, nothing's really going to come up, from this. I would have said Malik Collins or Corey Littleton. I would have said those are the big signings. And Nelson Aguilar, I mean, he's blown everyone away. Love my little alligator.
Alligator.
The alligator. Okay, it's time to make some of our New Year's resolutions. And let us start with Homer.
Oh man, my New Year's resolution, huh? Let's see. I don't know. This is 2020 has been such a strange year. My New Year's resolution, I don't even have one, y'all. And, this episode's coming out today, right? Thursday, the 31st. This is my birthday, y'all. So I don't even know. Like
Happy
my New
birthday,
Year's resolution.
Homer. You're still not getting any of my Raiders gifts that I got for Christmas.
Damn it.
So your New Year's resolution is a great hangover recovery, right?
No, you know what? Okay. My New Year's resolution, right? So since, I come from a broken home, anybody that's ever, checked out my channel, I talk about my troubled past, right? A whole lot, So since, I've been a part of Raider Nation since 1990. That's when I became a fan. But I really started to understand what it meant to be a part of the Raider Nation in 2006 to the Silver and Black of Central Texas. Now here I am in 2020 with the channel, YouTube channel, with great podcasts, with two great co-hosts, and friends that I've made in that channel, like Ma Boss, who has been on this show, this podcast, the Only Nation podcast. So what he did, right, is he sent me a gift, right? So check it out. So when I first started this channel, I went to the Raider Nation Explosion, which we've talked about on this podcast. And what he did was include me in like a graduation kind of ceremony kind of thing, like where we walked across the stage and we got a bottle and all this and that. And everybody was celebrating the fact that we were Raider Nation and we were all family and we were doing things for each other and the community. So we just wanted to recognize each other for that, right? So I got that bottle walking across the stage, young into the channel, man. I didn't expect it. I just went there, right? And the bottle got broken, right? But my boss, he sends me the bottle again this year for Christmas. So I, am not really the kind of guy that just sends out gifts, right? I take care of my immediate family, and that's that. So I'm inspired now to do more to make people feel more like my family, like my boss made me feel like his family. So that's my New Year's resolution, is to do more for the people that have been a part of my life, to make sure that they understand how much that means to me.
And I have to follow that. Wow. Well, I've got three. The first two, we really don't have any control over. So we're hoping and keeping our fingers crossed that the vaccine works and that things can get as back to normal as we can and hope that they can. So number one, my first resolution is that we have full training camps next summer. That's my first resolution. The second resolution is that we have fans in the stands and that we are able to pack Allegiant Stadium for all 8 of those home games next year. Now, those two things we don't really have any control over right now. So we're just going to have to wait and see if everything plays out. Now, the third thing, and I don't mean to be a negative Nancy here, and I love Raider Nation and I love our fan base, but it's time almost to kind of cull the herd a little bit. And let me explain what I mean. There's a lot of negativity out there, huge amount of negativity. And this is where some members of Raider Nation are actually turning on each other. And I don't want to see that. Now, I'm not happy about the way things have gone. And none of us in this room are happy about the way things have gone. But this is where we need to either step up and say, we are members of Raider Nation, or you're against it. So for all the doubters and all the haters out there, you need to make a choice. And this is me calling you out. You're either with the Raider Nation or you're not. So one of the resolutions I have is we are going to cull the herd and get rid of some people that we don't need with us because they're just not true fans. We need to have Raider Nation as a true fan base that are with us. Raider for life.
Hear, hear.
Cheers. And I think I'm going to build on Homer's resolution, just that we're able to continue to build this podcast. It's been a great run this year. Met some really great people, met 2 really awesome co-hosts, and podcast is growing. We've got a family that is really consistent in listening. We've got calls from Scotland last week. We've got some really dedicated fans, and we really salute you. We are so glad that you've made us part of your family. We just want to continue to grow, reach out, and spread the Raider Nation love.
And I'm going to piggyback on that. And 2020 has certainly sucked as a year, but it's brought me together with the two of you. And I've been really thankful for that. And I'm looking forward to 2021, if for nothing more than we can all start this thing out together at the very beginning.
And I'm still working on letting go.
You're doing a great job.
Thank you. Well, you guys are doing a great job helping me. Okay, T3, I think it's time for another Heidi's High Five.
And now it's time for another Heidi's High Five.
All right. This week's version of Heidi's High Five. Number 1. Okay, here's an early dip into the 2021 NFL Draft. As of right now, the Raiders are slated to select 17th. And according to Walter Football, the Raiders could select Notre Dame linebacker, I hope I pronounced this right, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. After not selecting a linebacker early last year, something that I was calling for, let's see what the Raiders do this year. But we're going to have to wait. Number 2, speaking of the draft, it's no secret that the guy I already have my eye on is USC defensive tackle Jay Tufele. And that's how you say his name, Tufele, like Tufe. After choosing to sit out this past season, if he does indeed declare for the draft, he could potentially be that agile and athletic 300-pound monster to bolster the interior of that defensive front. Either way, I think we all feel that change is coming for that Raider defense. Number 3, okay, I guess I couldn't come this far without at least acknowledging the 500-pound gorilla in the room. We've got 2 quarterbacks, so what do? I say hang on to both for now. Derek is still the guy, but I still want to see the Raiders draft a kid in round 2. Now, if someone happens to make an offer for Marcus Mariota that they simply can't refuse, well, then let's talk. Number 4, I'm not sure if you noticed during the game last Saturday, but Josh Jacobs was wearing specially designed cleats that paid tribute to his upbringing in Tulsa, Oklahoma, his family, particularly his father, and the 2004 Ford Taurus that he had to spend many a night in. It's been a rough journey at times, but this kid is now a Pro Bowler, and he is one other thing, a true Raider. And number 5, the Las Vegas Raiders are building on the momentum of the popular Elite chats from last summer. ELITE stands for education, leadership, integrity, teamwork, equality, consisting of virtual weekly meetings with high school football programs in Southern Nevada featuring Raiders players and alumni. Every position group is being covered during the series, which is just another level of support that the Raiders are extending to the game of football at the youth level. And that is this week's version of Heidi's High Five.
And T3, I need to tell you that you stole my number 4. Josh Jacobs was going to be my hero.
He can still be your hero.
Oh, yeah.
No. I found someone else just as worthy. But, I was a little disappointed when I saw that. I'm like, okay, great. He stole my hero.
We can make him hero honorable mention.
Okay.
Here, look, I want to touch on 1 and 2. I'd rather take a free safety at this point. I think Kwiatkowski in the middle is really good. And then I think Littleton had played better last week under a different coach. So I think he can bounce back under a Wade Phillips, right? And then we got Nicholas Morrow, who stepped in admirably, right, and played well. And then we still got Tanner Muse, who can come on the outside, I think, with the quickness and get sacks, right, and help that 3-4 defense. Now, as far as draft, if we don't get a safety, then I do like the idea of getting a big defensive tackle like Jay Tufele. That way he can clog up that middle. That's what we need if we're going to make a transition to 3-4. So that's where I'm sitting right there. I like the idea of drafting a defensive tackle, but I do like the idea of drafting a free safety also.
We won't need one if we get my stocking request. I'm wanting Anthony Harris from the Vikings. I want him.
Yeah,
I want to put him back
good.
There.
He's good. Yeah, of course, the free agency it starts before the draft, so we'll be able to do all that when we get to that point. You know what I mean? But again, okay, now let's go to number 3. All right. Yeah, they're going to keep both of them. Just stop, right? Derek Carr is the man. Mariota is the backup. We know that now, sitting where we are now, if we get to the position that we were in 2016 with the Colts, playing the Colts, we can put in Marcus Mariota and win that game for seeding purposes. When we were so far ahead, we can put in Marcus Mariota, and then he can continue that game and just end the game, and it's over. We won that game. And then he can even come in, the next couple of games and whatnot and play well for us too, knowing that we had the seating position. So, but as far as drafting a quarterback, I don't know, man. I don't see that happening. I'm telling you, we're going to go get Sam Darnold.
No, not Darnold. No. I'm surprised you haven't suggested that we pick up Haskins yet.
Oh, no. I don't want Jamarcus Russell 2.0. We don't need another guy like that. No.
Could you imagine him in Vegas?
Oh, I was getting ready to say, if he got in trouble in D.C., just wait till he got to Vegas.
No kidding.
Oh, and Homer, just if we're looking at comparisons with Jamarcus Russell could actually throw the ball.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't mean to make that comparison. I guess I shouldn't make that comparison, right? But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. He just didn't cut it in Washington. We don't need to go that route. Mariota was successful in Tennessee. You know what I mean? So we want that guy on our team. You know what I mean? I know that Sam Darnold is not successful in New York, but the dude ran over Jeff Heath and gave him a concussion, knocked him out of the game.
In between throwing the balls to the other team.
He's tough. The kid is tough, man. And he ran for that 46-yard touchdown against Denver, dude. And then oh my God, the Raider Nation, we've been talking about a little bit about the Raider Nation being pissed off. They were so pissed off because that kid drove down our defense on the Jets. Like, imagine what he could do on our team with John Gruden. And he's young enough to where you can get him in. By the time Derek Carr leaves in a year or two and Mariota's gone too, he's primed and ready. I'm telling you, man, Sam Darnold.
Okay, Homer, how about a prediction for the final game of the year against the Broncos?
Oh, man, does it even matter, right? We can't pick for shit. I know I can't. I'm gonna go with. I'm not going with the reverse psychology thing this week because that shit didn't work that much either. So I'm just gonna go with the will to win. All right, we have to win, so I'm going to will it. All right, so I'm just going to say we're going to win this game in inclement weather, probably 17-14 with another Derek Carr fourth quarter comeback.
I'm going to say Raiders 24-17.
All right, I'm going to go out on a limb here. This is the week that the Raiders will unleash all their frustrations. I say that the Raiders are going to win 41-20.
I'll take it.
Bam.
All right, Raider Nation, this is the Only Nation podcast, and we love to hear from the Only Nation, so give us a call at 904-701-8667. That's 904-701-8667. Leave a voicemail or text message at that number or send a message via social media, and we will share your thoughts.
Okay, guys, it looks like y'all took the week off for the holidays, so we don't have any voicemails or messages. So get on the horn. Get on your keyboard and send us a message, and we will play it for you next episode.
All right, let's hear it. Because I'm pretty sure I don't know. Let's hear it. Homer, did you know?
Hey, Homer, did you know?
All right, in this week's version of Homer, Did You Know? Once a Raider, always a Raider. In 1976, when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers started their first season, their tight end was Bob Moore, who came over from the then Oakland Raiders as part of the expansion draft. Well, in Week 12, the Buccaneers traveled to Oakland for a game against the Raiders. So Art Toms, Phil Villapiano, and Dave Dalby got a limo and convinced some of the members of airport security to let them drive out onto the tarmac, you can't do that now, to welcome their old friend and teammate. So when the team charter landed and the stairs were brought to the plane, the limo pulled up. Moore came down the stairs, walked the red carpet, hugged his old teammates, got in the limo, and they drove off. Bucks head coach John McKay was not real happy about the situation. He was even less happy when he was watching the 11 o'clock news later that night and saw members of both the Raiders and the Buccaneers partying inside Moore's condo in Alameda, which he still had. Oakland beat Tampa Bay the next day by a score of 49-16 as they made their way toward a Super Bowl and their first Lombardi trophy. Ah, better days. And the Buccaneers, well, they didn't win anything that year, finishing 0-14. And that is this week's version of Hey Homer, Did You Know?
Maybe we should have sent Barrett Robbins to party with the Buccaneers in 02.
He was too busy in Mexico.
Oh, God. Seriously, though, mental health is a serious issue, but, man, that is something that's hard to deal with as a fan, you know.
If Stabler had been Barrett Robbins' quarterback, they might have been down there together.
That's true. Stabler would have kept an eye on him.
Yeah, but Stabler would have brought him back, you know,
Stabler
for the
would
win.
have brought him back. Stabler would have brought him back. Yes, he would have.
That's part of the show.
We just heard it. What? Oh, Heidi's Heroes. I'm sorry. On or off the field. The best part of the show.
I'm flattered.
I'm sure.
Flying away on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be?
Well, as I said, T3 already stole my Heidi's Hero. So I will give an honorable mention to Josh Jacobs, who frankly is just awesome, personally and professionally. So last second switch up, I found a little Raider. Well, I guess he's not that little, who is more than worthy of the honor as well. Rodney Hudson, 31 years old. He played in college for Florida State University and was drafted by the Chiefs.
Boo.
But, you know, he's been on the Pro Bowl team 3 times. He was snubbed this year. But he was a second-team All-Pro last year. And last year, he also won a pretty prestigious honor. He was named the winner of the Annual Commitment to Excellence Award. But not only did he get it last year, he got it this year. And in fact, he's gotten it for the last 4 years. That is the most times consecutively that any Raider has ever been given the award. The Commitment to Excellence Award, it is presented annually to the Raider who best exemplifies hard work, leadership, and excellence on and off the field throughout the season. In 2019, he became the first Raider to win it in 3 consecutive years, and this year he won it in the 4th. Pro Football Hall of Famer Tim Brown, he did receive the award 6 times, but never 4 years consecutively. So that's a pretty major honor, and I think that makes him my hero this week.
And, you know, we didn't choreograph this, but as we're doing this podcast, I am rocking my black number 61 Rodney Hudson jersey.
Woohoo! Man, I'll tell you what, look, Rodney Hudson is easily Reggie McKenzie's best free agent signing, right? And I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Rodney Hudson, even though I didn't see Jim Otto play, is the best center that we've had since Jim Otto, right? We just mentioned Barrett Robbins, right? Like, the center is so important. It's so important. If you don't know that, you don't know football. And Rodney Hudson has continued to prove himself the best free agent signing that Reggie McKenzie ever signed. I love the guy. I should get a jersey too. You know, the guy is probably one of the players worthy of getting a jersey. I should just wait till he retires though. Retire a Raider. You know, but it does suck that he came from the Chiefs. But that's always that, you know, bittersweet pill that we got to swallow as fans, that these players, they go from team to team. Fuck the Chiefs. But hey, you know, it is what it is. Rodney Hudson's awesome.
I think it's even better that he came from the Chiefs because we can rub it in their faces every year now.
Exactly.
I don't know, man. The Chiefs won a Super Bowl after he left, so
whatever.
Edit that out.
Took them like 50 years to do it.
Well, the Seahawks won a Super Bowl too, if that makes it any better.
No,
but they're not going to
doesn't.
win one.
It does not make it better at all.
There was another team that won 6.
Yeah, that's
We're
right.
going to leave them out of it,
Can we
though.
stop this? Let's wrap it up.
I And thanks again to our listeners for joining us on the Only Nation podcast. You can follow me on social media at Kevlar Prom Dress on Twitter or on Instagram.
All right, Raider Nation. Man, you got to call us. Man, we want to hear from y'all. We want y'all to get in touch with us. Our Google voicemail number is 904-701-8667. That's 904-701-8667. Leave us a voicemail or send us a text message to that number. You can also email us at onlynationpod@gmail.com. And you can also find us on both Twitter and Instagram by going to @onlynationpod. We're also on Facebook and YouTube at the Only Nation Podcast. And you can find me, Raider Homer, on social media at what is it? Where am I at? And you can find
Where can you find me?
I'm on Facebook. Just search Raider Homer. Go to the Raider Homer channel Facebook group. Join me there. I'm also on Instagram. Just search Raider Homer. And I'm on Twitter. You can search @Homer Raider or Raider Homer. I'm there. Just Raider Homer across the board.
Homer's resolution is that he can find himself in 2021.
Oh, my God. That was terrible.
Be sure to like and subscribe on your favorite social media account and podcasting app. Make sure to leave your name, address, and phone number. Call us and give us your feedback and tell us what your holiday wishes are. 904-701-8667. That's 904-701-8667. Call us now and join the Only Nation podcast family. You can also find me on social media on YouTube at T3 Sports Guy or on Twitter at T3_sports 703.
Until next time, everyone, go Raiders.
Go Raiders.
Time to get rid of 2020 with better things on the horizon. Happy New Year and go Raiders.
Woo!
There's a second strand.
Woo!